And we are back, my friends. I'm your anchor and producer, Dr. Robin Falkov. This is Event Horizons, here with you Monday through Friday. I thank you guys for being part of my great big extended family, showing up, going to freedomslips.com, going to Studio A, and listening and paying attention and, gosh, recognizing how important the information is. This story that Solaris is telling, and you think of so many like her that have undergone a living hell and many that still are. And because of the spin out there, you're made to think that they're crazy. They're made to think that they're crazy because, after all, how could this ever be happening to them? There's got to be something wrong with them. And that's not the case. And this moving over blame and manipulating and creating all of these things to undermine our basic awareness, these are inexcusable. So I'm ever so grateful to have you with us, Solaris, and I know we just have a little bit more time with you. Can you give your website, please? Because, guys, Solaris has books, videos, and you need to have some friends over and watch some of these videos and have your friends discuss the books after they've read them, because you've got to be alert and you might be able to make a difference for people around you or be able to help yourself if this nightmare descends on you.
And thank you, Robin, once again. And my website is Night Shadow Anomaly Detectives, and you can purchase my books on Amazon.com. There's a whole list if you just Google my name. My documentary, Eye of the Remote, A Disclosure in Covert Technology, is available on my website for purchase. So if you want to purchase that, you can do so. And yeah, it's a critical thing, Robin. We really need to address this because it's in motion. It's been in motion. I know you mentioned the lag from when they secretly experiment on populations till they discuss it. Honestly, I don't think they'll ever discuss it until people start blowing the whistle on them, like me, like people like myself who get out there and start saying this is what's going on. Even Dr. Robert Duncan eventually came forward and started putting his information out, I think out of guilt on a lot of levels, just because it's destroying society. It's destroying everybody. So it has to be addressed.
And I agree with you, but I'm thinking along the lines. There was information I even sent to you about Colonel John Alexander, who got my attention years ago when I was looking into mind control, and I forgot where Richard and I had been. This was really, I guess, probably about 12 years ago, and we received a book, and in the book, I was very surprised to come across information about silver mind control. And that's something that I always thought, oh, if only I had the time or the money so I could do the training. So instead, I got the book and I taught myself. And I can't even begin to tell you how many friends and patients I've bought the book for. You can get used copies on Amazon. But lo and behold, with the technology that they use to help people to identify different cycles of brain activity and be able to work to recreate them, they're connected to machines that give them this feedback to identify where their brain state is. And of course, as we know, computerized technology becomes more and more sophisticated. But who was on their board of directors? None other than John Alexander.
No surprise there. He's the king of artificial telepathy. There's no doubt about that. You know, it's interesting, Robin, when I was inducted in 2004, Pert created an album called Feedback. And that's exactly what he was doing with me, except it was the AI interface. And by the way, he has and is involved in artificial intelligence programming and uses it for surveillance and security. Just so everybody knows.
Well, there's so much that people think, oh gosh, you're reading too much science fiction, until they might be at an event and people start getting angry, and suddenly you see the anger changes into discomfort and people look nauseous and they're kind of sweating and slowed down. And what changed?
Right. Well, I think they're being affected psychologically. There's no doubt about it. But I'll tell you, there's so much what we were talking about, the entrainment program, the programming that's involving just regular entrainment from their educational teaching systems and whatever else they're using. But I'll tell you what's going on now with the AI is that it's just super computer driving systems. They have graduated from the primordial old feedback systems to very high tech remote access technology where they can triangulate you in your home, with the satellite driven technologies. The reason I mentioned the drones is because the drones are very suspicious in my opinion, because I know what they can do with black helicopters, and I'm sure they can incorporate the same technology onto their, their drones and everything else. I would pay attention to things that are flying in proximity around your neighborhood, and if you have anything that's strange and anomalous, I would look into that too. I don't know if I answered your question, but I wanted to address that because I think more and more people are going to see activity around their homes, and more and more people are going to realize that something's afoot. And unless you've been involved in these programs, unless you really understand and have been integrated in, I wouldn't say integrated, but to some degree you are, but and you get pulled into these programs, you'll understand very clearly what they're about. And that's the reason I can talk about them, because I had a lot of years and trained with them, unfortunately. I'm not saying that was a good thing. That's why I had to testify.
Yes.
But I know the technology very well, so well that I was willing to turn all of them in.
And because there are more and more voices popping up, and I have people contacting me on Facebook, and I encourage them to get in touch with you and to get in touch with Melanie Richin so that they can recognize that gosh, they're not crazy.
No, they're not.
What was the first thing that went through your mind when these things were happening?
Well, I said to them point blank, I said, this is man-made. I started laughing because, I'm a very powerful natural healer and psychic naturally. So I know true energy and consciousness versus a manufactured program like a mock radio system. And that's what it was. It was like, oh, this is so ridiculous. I was laughing at them, and I was kidding around at first. I didn't think they were out to harm me. I thought, oh, this is man-made and blah, blah, blah. I was just thinking it was okay in a weird way, like, oh, they're just playing a game or something. But then I realized what kind of tactical hardware they were using on me. And then I realized when they were interconnecting me, how when I started to back them up, they were trying to harm me. And so it got uglier very quickly. Very, very quickly it got ugly.
So for those first warning signs that you recognized as something you didn't take to be a threat, you thought it was not serious, for someone that doesn't have any awareness or experience in this area, and suddenly these new strange things are happening to them, would you say that their first reaction is that maybe they think they're losing their mind?
Well, I think some people who aren't sure of themselves, who aren't fortified in their own design work, people who haven't done a lot of work on themselves would probably be fear-based and think that they're maybe going crazy. Yeah. It can make them feel like they're going nuts because you're being inundated with a dialogue that's mock radio. If you have something that's attacking you from an exterior source internally and making it seem like it's you inside, but it's really not. They do the cloning and the EEG cloning and heterodyning, where they can create an artificial template of something who with a schizophrenic brainwave pattern and deploy it onto a target to make them think that they're going schizophrenic. This is a mind control program out the wazoo. I mean, these guys have mastered this crap. And I'll tell you, it can drive somebody crazy. It can make them think they're losing their minds. I was very fortunate, I'll tell you right now. And also, I was handled with kid gloves in the beginning. I will tell you I was. For the most part, they were trying to program me. They were trying to train me. And they realized that I was pretty advanced, and they liked that. So they wanted to work with me on different programs, and they did. But, at the time I was pulled in, that was 2004. That was under the Bush administration. And we all know where he comes from. And I'll tell you right now, but he was a lot more working with me insofar as recruitment versus what they're doing these days. Now they want to attack and interrogate worse. They don't want to even cooperate with anybody they pull into the program. They want to destroy them. So they've changed the dynamic from recruitment to harming.
I hear you. I hear you. And that is a big switch. So is it more to intensify that fear modality that they're adding more pain or mental anguish so that there's a stronger control mechanism for them to use?
They're trying to break you down psychologically, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And if you have belief systems, they'll use them as a weapon against you. You don't have any place to run inside your body. So when they start pulling you into the AI interface, artificial telepathy with a live handler real time, usually that includes the programmers and operators and controllers, then they'll start to create these types of programs to create this confusion, trauma. They can stop things. They can mess with your vitals and your body. They can make you go to the floor in vertigo. I mean, they did a lot of stuff to me that was this is not a non-lethal weapon. This is a kill weapon. And I want people to understand this. This is BS when they say these non-lethal weapons. These things will destroy you. And if they don't kill you in the first year, they don't expect you to live past 15 years. I'm amazed I'm still alive, quite honestly. And I know I have health issues because of the type of technology they used on me, because it's not natural. It's not supposed to be there. So, it gets me very fired up. And I will say one thing. When I wrote my book, Eye of the Remote, Black Operations in Areas Beyond 52, I can't believe some of the people coming to contact me now who say, thank you so much for putting that out there. You've saved my life. I didn't know what was going on, and I'm much more empowered now just understanding this. You don't realize how many people you have an effect on, Robin, until you start realizing that once in a while they come in and they'll communicate, just like your work and just like your radio show. You're touching thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and it's osmosis. We're awakening these people, and we're showing them what's really happening behind the scenes. And you all see this. Now all these people are trying to meet together to take down Trump. I don't want to change the subject, but just that whole idea of the
Please.
truth hurts. You know how the
Yeah.
truth hurts, right? Why is
Yeah.
he such a threat to these people? Well, obviously he's a threat because he's going to expose them even worse than what we are doing. He's the voice of what we are, what we've been saying here in the truth media.
I mean, where have we ever heard anybody bring up the 28 pages from the 9/11 report?
I
No,
love it.
I mean, I thought, wait a second, am I in an alternate reality where suddenly things are going to be discussed?
I love it. And you know what's really wonderful too? I've always said I'd love to talk with him about the the covert technology and the misuse of, because I really understand it. And once he gets an idea that they're misusing covert technology with artificial telepathy for their elite groups for communication system, which is wireless, odorless, tasteless, you can't really measure it very well unless you're part of the program. And I'll tell you point blank, man, those are spy birds. So once he figures that out, that there are spy birds there that are infiltrators, yeah, I have news for you. The New World Order is a no world order. It's going. It's going in one form or another. We may have to suffer in the consequences, but I think it is going down.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. It's a matter of time, and that's why the ugliness is so rampant and much more prevalent than we've seen in excuse me, in other elections. And you have to this disconnect with so many, and because I have a passion for Trump as you do, because it's finally someone who is actually talking about issues on people's minds. And I mean, what is it? People are terrified to say or acknowledge that, yeah, I question the mainstream media. I question the government. It's a bunch of lies. And, they seem to be backing off like scared little mice with this opportunity, with this amazing chance to hear a real voice to let us know what's going on. And
Right.
it terrifies them.
Yeah, that we need to build the momentum behind Trump and just keep
Yeah.
it rolling. We have to make this unstoppable force and unstoppable wave to just completely annihilate the lies and the deception and these cabals, and just get them out of here, completely get them out of here, and use your voice. Obviously, use your personal power. Your voice is your power. When you stand up and you're being counted in truth, you are using your power. You're executing that power. They're trying to, they're really trying to infringe on that. So I would say people stand up as best you can, because these guys, they're not going to stop. Okay, this agenda is not going to stop until we put a stop to it. That's the bottom line.
I hear you. And people have got to be aware of doublespeak. Everything that they laughed about, and oh, what a crazy book 1984 was. And, this could not come to pass. And people have been saying these mantras over and over. Oh, but that could never happen here. And that could never happen here. And that's, you look at the core people of the United States that repeat that over and over. That could never happen here. We have the best health care. We have the best lifestyle. We have freedom. Yeah.
Jim Jones. It's really interesting to me. You know who Jim Jones is, right?
Yes.
But it's really funny because look at the
Special
Obama
Kool-Aid.
right. Look at the Obama administration. I mean, what has anybody done it? Like, hello, can you check and see what's going on the past 8 to 10 years? Has anybody looked around to see how much this guy has been NDAA and all these executive orders out the wazoo, infringing on your personal rights and freedom, and nobody's saying a word, and yet they're attacking Trump? I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Is Obama invisible to these people, or are they just so complacently brainwashed that they can't see what's really happened and how this country has been gutted for the past 10 years? He's the one that should be out under treason and arrested. It's not Trump that's the problem. It's the Obama administration right now, and currently other administrations that have been part of it.
I agree. And I have to apologize to so many of my friends and colleagues out there that talked about the importance of impeaching Obama. And I didn't get it. I thought it would be so disruptive for the country, but who would we have to step in after him? That was part of the problem as well, because Biden is, just another mouthpiece. Maybe he might not have the same amount of self-control, or his programming is not as strong for impulses, but he follows the same lockstep, with the issues with everything else, and it just boggles my mind.
Well, he's part of the cabal too, and that's another
Yeah.
thing. These guys are indoctrinated into the CIA cabals, where Trump is the outsider. He really is.
Yeah.
And they don't like that. And they've even said it point blank. They've mentioned it, that he's not part of the in crowd. He's not that little boys club.
Yeah, and you look at what happened in Ukraine, what was fomented by the manipulations of the United States to claim there was unrest in that country and give the illusion that that was going on, so then all of this could, come about. And what happens when the IMF and John Kerry show up to entrap the people further with the enormous amounts of monetary help that they'll be given, translating into we have a noose around your neck now because you'll never pay it back. And whose son gets put on the board of the major oil company for Ukraine? None other than Joe Biden's.
Right. Yeah. No
And
such thing as coincidence there, Robin.
I know, but did anybody cover that?
No, of course not. Oh, that's the problem. Mainstream is such a disservice. I tell everybody, please don't even watch it anymore. Don't look at it. Don't listen to it. Ignore it. It's such a deception program. It's such a disservice to the truth. And the way they spin things, and I felt so bad for Trump when they were attacking him, that last time I watched him on the debates. And, he stands so strong as a pillar of light. He really does. And these people just take the lowest shots they can because they have nothing to bring to the plate, Robin. These other candidates have nothing important to say, nothing to bring to the plate. All they can do is try to crap on his head to make themselves look better. And that is poor sportsmanship.
Yeah, you're being way too kind, Solaris. How can you call? I thought Richard was putting me on when when he first said about Cruz lying that he sent out these forms about when people would vote that Carson has withdrawn and he wanted everybody to vote for Cruz. I couldn't believe that someone would have the audacity, that's how stupid I am, to actually do that, to have a trail, to have things in writing, lying to people to get their votes. And
Right.
everybody just said, oh, well, it's no big deal.
Yeah, it's like a used car salesman. I mean, these guys are low. I mean, my goodness, they're so low. And he shines, he just shines very, very bright because he represents the spirit of America, if you ask me. That's the way I interpolate Trump. He speaks the truth. He may be abrasive sometimes, but he does generate a positive outlook on what our American country should be about. And people have forgotten, apparently they've forgotten America to such an extent that it seems foreign to them when he communicates. Not to me, not to me at all. I understand completely what he's talking about, and he's right on track.
I agree. To me, it is pure excitement that at last we've got a voice out there.
Absolutely. We've been asking for one too. I kept saying we need
Yes.
backup. We need backup. Well, there he is. And come on, guys, get behind him for crying out loud.
Yeah, but they're too afraid.
Yep. Well, fear is going to kill you. I'll tell you what, it's just like that movie Dune in the book. Fear is the mind killer. Truly is. Once you have fear, it just limits your evolution in all forms and designs. If people get complacent to a point where they're afraid to speak up, oh, I'm going to go to jail. I'm going to get arrested. I'm going to get fined. I'm going to get this. Too bad. That, the American Revolution wasn't fought by just sitting there and standing there and smiling at everybody. The bottom line is you have to stand up and be counted. I got screwed in the courtroom in 2006. I was set up in the court. They detained me at the jail for 6 hours. I understand very clearly how the system works. Trust me. And so did my NSA lawyer who was shadowing the case. So, these guys are crumb bums.
Oh yes, that's once again being very generous on your
I know.
part.
I'm trying to be polite on air. I could use the F-bomb, but I don't want to do that.
I know
Trying
it's a lot of self-control.
Yeah.
But it's people that know me well are just kind of astonished that I have any self-control.
You're wonderful. I think you're wonderful, and your
Well,
show's awesome, and you're such a good messenger for the truth.
well, I thank you. We have a mutual admiration society, and I just am so wowed to have a clear thinking friend, Solaris. There are so few people that one can even have a conversation with because you get to that wall and they start looking at you sideways like you must be crazy.
Isn't it weird? And what's so funny? I've been through like an interrogation program that would kill people, and I got out really, really strong. And that makes me really amazed that, I am very grounded. I'm very anchored. But why I'm so anchored is because I'd say I'll be damned if you people are going to compromise me and create these false matrices around me. I was completely solid in my personality. So I'm very grateful of that. I think that's what it is. That's why I have a brain, really, really strong brain now, but it's taken a few hits, unfortunately.
Well, and you take hits and then you evolve and
Yep.
you grow even stronger. And it's that spirit of it's, I'm not buying into fear and nothing is going to get the better of me. Maybe you might think so for a moment, but that is just a passing little moment that you can take some kind of who knows what satisfaction in because it's gone.
Exactly. And one thing I want to bring to everybody's attention to is we are the true legacy of the American spirit. And those of us who are here as you can call them freedom fighters, you can call them whatever you want. We're just true Americans. We're true Americans, and we have that legacy. And I think that it's really important at this point. We're in a critical time where we have to stand up and be counted. And people are doing it in all forms and designs. I mean, they really, really are. I think it's significant right now, though, especially now because we're at a turning point where things can go bad very, very quickly. I'm still concerned about Trump insofar as keeping shields around him, keeping him safe.
Yeah.
Because what they can't handle and control, they want to destroy.
Yep.
That's the bottom line. If
Oh,
they can't take him down one way, they'll find another way. We have to be very, very aware of this. And that goes for anybody else, too, who's out there telling the truth. Be aware. Have situation awareness, believe me.
and it's kind of difficult to educate people about that because they're, afraid of looking crazy, afraid of having others turn and look at them and, the emperor is not wearing any clothes. Well, heaven forbid anybody admits that. They'll all stand there and say, he's fully dressed. What's the matter with you?
Right. You know what they need to do is turn it back on them, turn the mirror back on them. In other words, they're always pointing their fingers and swords at people saying they're crazy for standing up and being counted in truth or exposing the misuse of covert technology or anything else. This technology that I expose is provable. So it's kind of like knock yourselves out, idiots. I can prove the technology. You don't even have a war against me. Bottom line. So when you look at all these things, it's really about turning the mirror back on them. If they're trying to call people crazy, if they're trying to point fingers and say that they're this and they're that, the terrorists are not the American people standing up for their freedom. The real terrorists are the people who are controlling these cabals and initiating these assaults on innocent people and civilians. Those are the terrorists. And sometimes they wear the mask of government, corporations, you name it, feds. These guys, it's unfortunate. I'd like to see the good guys come out of the woodwork in these divisions. I don't even know if they have any good guys anymore. I really don't.
I have no idea. Everything is so upside down. And
it is. You know what my NSA lawyer, I didn't mean to cut you off, Robin.
No, go ahead.
My ex-NSA lawyer told me a long time ago when he was NXA Signals Intelligence, he told me, I don't want to get involved in that anymore. I'm out of it now. I don't want to have to kill somebody. I mean, seriously, it's an ugly world they live in, a real ugly world. Okay?
And I hear you. And this is the oxymoron label of non-lethal weaponry. First learning of John Alexander's work, non-lethal. So you drive people crazy. You push them to commit suicide. You undermine their lives. You ruin everything. And this is not lethal?
It is lethal.
Yes.
Absolutely it is.
Yes.
It's a kill weapon, kill shot, kill weapon, remote attack weapon.
So, are you able to stay with us for
I can if you need me. Yeah, I can actually.
I would love to have more time with you, and then we will get to the next part. But this is great. I thank you, guys. We will be back more with Solaris BlueRaven.